Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there.
Welcome back to the W1 Sim Series.
What is going to be a cutthroat championship clash.
20 cars line up under the lights. 4 and 5 red lights.
We welcome you to W1. Wheel to wheel, heading through lane car. They're going to go side by side, coming in towards Baggins and Beckett. Who's bravest? Fantastic move from Cheryl Bucknell. But it's not over yet. The house comes back at her. Big crash though, and she leads, she crashes, she's round.
What a hard-fought victory that was. That is just spectacular.
But your drivers champion W1 Sim Series. What a season they have had.
Well, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to wherever you may be in the world, and welcome back to the W1 Sim Series. It feels so good to be saying that, I must admit. We are getting ready for our second season, a brand new regulation of Formula 1 cars, and now 22 drivers taking to your screens, and the virtual racetracks across F1 25, the 2026 season pack, which we're just going to call it F1 26 for simplicity, aren't we, everybody? Yes, yes. But no, it is good to be back, Carl. I'm so glad to be joined alongside you. There was a moment during the week where we didn't think this was going to happen.
There's all sorts of conundrums you have to deal with that you have no idea about. It's wonderful to be back. I think that goes without saying. It's great to be back. The dynamic duo is here, like we never left. Season 2 is not far away. This is just a prelude for what's about to happen. It's going to be brilliant. First race with the 2026 cars, all of these fabulous drivers duking it out together. And what a track they've got as well tonight.
Absolutely. Our season closer last time, our season finale, we headed to the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace. which was a fantastic championship close. We saw Lee Woodward claimed the first, or crowned, should I say, the first ever Drivers' Champion within the W1 Sim Series. And now we've got even more entries stepping in today. Some reservists as well. We've got some drivers who aren't around for the very first attempt, but I guarantee this is going to be some thrilling racing. Before we get started with too much, let's go ahead and have a look at our track, because I think that's probably important. It has changed slightly from when we raced there at the end of 25. We have got no more DRS zones. They are now the straight line modes, the active aero, as you can see on the map in the next few moments. But apart from that, a fairly unchanged Brazilian circuit.
Quite right. I miss when they called straight line mode the MOM mode.
Yeah.
Bring back the MOM acronym. Unbelievable. But yes, Brazilian Grand Prix. There's something poetic about Interlagos, whether it's a social race, whether it's a season closer. It always brings the fireworks. It always brings the brilliant battles. We are so here for it. You can see a couple of active aero zones to activate that straight line mode. They can do it anywhere now. Doesn't matter what the gap is. But crucially, it's all about battery. You're going to hear a lot of electrical energy talk tonight, I do fear, ladies and gentlemen. But that is the big fish. It's all about being patient with the battery. It is a virtue.
Absolutely, you get it out of turn 12, that overtake detection, and then you can have it available for the entirety of the lap. And it's going to be, I think, a real learning zone or a learning twist for a lot of our drivers to go from what they understood in 2025 to resetting and redeveloping, because it is a much new electrical system. It deploys so much quicker, but actually on the flip side, especially in qualifying, you really have to lift and coast if you want to maximise those lap times.
For sure, I couldn't agree more with you. I think the two main lift and coast zones, there's obviously going to be turn 1, that's going to be a little bit of a lift and coast, and then you've got turn 4, the Cida del Lago as well. Those are the big ones. I'd argue Brazil is probably quite a safe track in terms of that battery management, because after you go through the Ferradura, whack it into none for the most part, and then you can just save the battery from there. It saves incredibly quickly under braking. It's almost a joke how quickly it saves, but it's all the patient game at the end of the day. Save as much capacity, and then you blitz it out of Junção all the way to that start-finish line. And again, patience is a virtue. There's a lot of strategy to talk about.
There really is, and we'll get into that in the next few moments. Of course, we've got the short qualifying session, 36 laps of the Grand Prix to come, so it is an unchanged format pretty much as we head into Season 2. But one thing we have got to talk about is the brand new teams on the grid. We've got Audi stepping in for what was Sauber, Cadillac being the 11th team within Formula 1 as well. And you can see the drivers, how they line up here this evening. We've got quite a few reserves taking their places. We've got both Ferraris missing. I believe they have been, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, I think they've been away. I don't know if I'm allowed to say where, if it's been on socials. If not, they've been away. You can take a hint as to where they're going. Lee Woodward is joined at McLaren tonight by Charlotte Perkins. I've got Sarah Hardy stepping into what was her old seat at Williams back in Season 1, with Madge as well making debut here in the Visa Cash App Racing Balls, with Olivia Collins as well stepping in to the Mercedes lineup. But this is, if they don't have an R next to their name, that is your lineup for Season 2 proper anyway.
Yeah, some returning names, some familiar faces, some very familiar faces, but perhaps new to the W1 scene. For instance, in Alpine, only Vic is here. Absolutely fantastic. Of course, affiliated with the Enstone outfit, going to do the Blue Blur proud, I am sure. You've then got Lee Woodward, of course, in the McLaren champion. Of course, this was the Colosseum that crowned said champion. But can they keep that champion's form? That is the big question. This is the litmus test. You've then got the likes of Regan Boylan in the Audi. You've got Lauren nodding. Hopefully head still nodding after this qualifying session. We will find out. And then that new team Cadillac, Catherine Thielking. That's going to be the big battle, I feel, tonight. You've got Catherine versus Lee Woodward. That was the big talking point at the end of Season 1. If Thielking keeps the consistency that she had at the end of the 2025 cars, she's going to be scary fast. But never count out our champion.
Never can out Lee Woodward. They've proved time and time again that they're able to come back from whatever resilience that they managed to pull themselves together with right at death's door. And, you know, I think there's some teams in here that are just absolutely fantastic, and the partnerships that have been made within those are also equally stunning. You know, you've got the likes of, obviously, both Ferrari seats being pretty much filled up instantly. So that left Carlotta Marchi wanting to go to this Italian connection team, where I believe Vicar kind of stepped in and took under her wing there. So that's fantastic to see. Obviously, Catherine racing for a home hero team in many aspects. Obviously, the American connection from there. But there's a lot of teams here that I think are going to be very competitive, and some that might have kind of slipped under the radar as well.
I agree. I really do agree. I think you've got looking at this lineup here, we'll see how we know Jessica Ball's got a wealth of experience in league racing. And experience pays off. You don't necessarily have to be the fastest, I think, in these 2026 cars. It can reward the smartest. And where Jessica Ball excels is her racecraft, her intelligence. And I think that will really shine through. Olivia Collins reserving in the Mercedes. She's incredibly quick. See how she's adapted to the 2026 cars. There's a whole host of names that could be up at the sharp end. We just don't know. That's the incredible thing. Setups are all new. The cars are all new. The philosophy is all new. So now it comes down to the drivers to really find that cutting edge.
Absolutely. I've just been told to go spectate. Apologies. I was waiting for Catherine to get in because sometimes, but the lobbies are doing EA things. I'll leave it at that for the majority. Because sometimes if all 22 slots are filled, whether that's by spectators or drivers, it won't let anybody else into the lobby. Thanks, EA. You had one job, allowing all 24 people into a lobby. But nonetheless, we have to look ahead as well. We saw our calendar posted on socials at the end of last week. I think it was Saturday or Sunday, just for a certain fired announcement that got put us between the two of us, which is highly disappointing. But calendar looks absolutely stacked as we head into Season 2 proper as well. I've done my best to turn what was a vertical format graphic into a horizontal one, and this is what we're going to have to live with for the time being until I can get it properly developed. But what a 10-race calendar I think the drivers have got lined up for here.
Some of you might have just heard me scoff in the background. A ridiculous calendar that we've got once again. And again, same kind of thing as Season 1. The drivers have put their ring into the hat with these tracks, and it is an immaculate calendar. Silverstone, the home of British motorsport, the birthplace of Formula 1. It's the birthplace of W1 in the 2026 cars. It's poetry in motion. You've then got Canada, Imola. Thank God we have Imola on the calendar. That's fantastic to see. Barcelona and Madrid, a Spanish doubleheader, followed by an American doubleheader. We can't get enough of the doubleheaders. And then you've got Zandvoort, Mexico, and then carnage, Saudi Arabia, to end off proceedings. It is a stacked calendar. Absolutely beautiful. And then we're going to Brazil for the social race. The bangers keep on flowing.
They do. I must admit, I had a lot of fun building that calendar for Season 2, only for a fair few of the tracks to get vetoed by other staff members. I personally wanted the season to end at Baku. And someone told me that was probably a bad idea, and in retrospect, I almost certainly agree. But I was trying to kind of link it. It would have been around the same time as the IRL Grand Prix. That's probably not close enough to be able to grant it as a viable strat at the moment. Who knows? For Season 3, we might be heading to Azerbaijan for one of the rounds, but we are literally moments away from getting loaded in to qualifying. I think we've got 21 on the grid at the moment. I think Catherine Thielking is having some issues getting into the lobby. Shock horror, thanks EA. And we will hope that they can join them. So we had someone in the chat saying, go to Greece. I'd love a Formula 1 race in Greece. That'd be fantastic. The Athens Grand Prix.
Mykonos Grand Prix. Make it happen. Formula, nothing like a tropical showdown.
No, that would be ecstatic. But I am so thrilled, Carl. And, as much as I could love to yap with you for the majority of the day, why don't we have a look at when the game wants to hook into OBS, apparently. Game, please.
Once we're let out of the abyss, we'll get started. That's what EA stands for, ladies and gentlemen.
What is this?
The electronic abyss.
Is it going to hook in the slightest? Apparently not. Just bear with us, folks.
Good news, TK. There's the power of imagination.
Yes, that is what we're going to have to go for.
What a lap! The Williams is on pole.
Hold on, I'll
it's
come
happened
back.
already.
I'll come back to us quickly. The viewers can see us, we can't see us. Just want to try and get this sorted. For whatever reason, in testing, this was all fine. I promise. And then the game capture's just gone, I'm not going to do that anymore. So
Classic game capture. Well, whilst Tom Knight is doing some chess maneuvers and sorting out F1 26, lots of it happening in the background in terms of the people behind W1 Sim series since the beginning of the series. There have been smatterings of successes that we need to talk about. Lots of growth in the social media space. Zara Shahsavari being one of them in the Cadillac, full-time driver for Season 2. Has gained quite the following on TikTok. Amazing traction in the live streaming space, which is wonderful to see. You've got Regan Boylan, who is affiliated with SRC, who has got a partnership now with a sim racing company, which is just wonderful to see. And then dating back even further, of course, you've got Miss Nutrix and Emma Clay affiliated with the Ferrari esports team. So there's moves being made all the time by these wonderful drivers. It shows the allure that the series has. You've got Omnivic, who's affiliated with the Alpine, very prolific live streamer in amongst our ranks as well. So that's the kind of game we're putting down on the table for you all going into Season 2. It's a wonderful grid. We're so grateful to have everyone along to what has been an amazing atmosphere, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an amazing atmosphere to have in W1. It's a case of everyone is uplifting. That's the beautiful thing. As what is not uplifting is, well, the scenery. We can't see it. We're still in the electronic abyss. It's not gone well.
This game is just not wanting to hook for us at the moment, and I'm really confused as to why, because I'm not even kidding. I've got both the window capture and the game capture trying to run. I'm going to have to fall back on display capture, just hope that doesn't bug it out too much. Which one do I want? That one? I'll do.
Whether you are religious or not, your prayers were answered. We're here for qualifying. Well done, everyone.
I don't know why that's taken so long to sort that out, but nonetheless, here we go, everybody, qualifying, and we've got all 22 drivers in as well. You'll have to put up with the FPS counter. I can only apologise for that one. But we have got all the drivers on the grid ready. No one saw anything, and we have got the first lap time car. We timed that perfectly. As Esme Chambers, that is Ace of Hearts, goes fastest with a 1:10.1.
10.1, we of course have no idea if that's a particularly amazing and scintillating time, but that will all become clear in good time. 10.1 is not bad. Olivia Collins immediately breaches the 10 barricade, a 1 minute 9.9, which Lee Woodward blitzes by nearly half a second. Good affinity with the Interlagos track, and it has continued for our crown champion of Season 1.
Keep an eye on Vanessa there as well as they make their way through the middle sector. They were purple in the first, I'll tell you that. A 17.5 on board with the Scarlet Red Ferrari. And we watch the live speed now as they come into what is essentially the final corner. The overtake detection, which you will see in the main race. But up towards the line, burning as much battery as they possibly can. And again, I have no idea if this is going to work or not. It is! It didn't work in testing, but it works now. Happy days.
So you can see how much the battery depletes as well as Vanessa goes fastest with a 9.3. TK said, keep your eyes on her. Your eyes better be Gorilla Glue to the Ferrari now because that is the benchmark. Charlotte Perkins, winner of Social Race 2 at the Italian Grand Prix in what was the green machine that is now an Audi. In the Papaya Pro, in this particular instance, no real impetus to flick. It's all about saving that battery. You can see it on the steering wheel, just over half of the electrical energy has been saved up because it's going to be an all-out battery blitz out of Jungsao, boost mode deployed, and it's going to be into hyperspace for the McLaren.
Reaching speeds of about 180 miles an hour, closing in on 200. You can see they've depleted all the battery they had available to align. Charlotte Perkins couldn't quite do it enough to secure top spot. We've got a car going fast as well. This is Catherine Thielking, now purple in the first sector. It does say Kiwi. Steam cached her name when she joined the lobby for the first time, and obviously she's now changed it, and it hasn't enabled her to change it back. We love a bit of caching on the end of this game. But again, purple in the first. It was in a personal best in the second so far for Thielking, but up towards the line, what are they able to try and muster up here?
Still got some battery left to deploy. Haven't put all their tokens into Sector 2. Across the line goes Catherine Thielking. It's fastest by a 1/10 of a second. I said it. If she's quick in the 2025 cars, be afraid if she's quick in these as well. And immediately, like a duck to water, Catherine Thielking is sailing on clear. Still early days. Still plenty of time for drivers to figure it out. But that's the benchmark as only Vic in the blue blur takes to the track for the first time in W1.
So good to see her returning as a full-time driver here in Season 2, and we mentioned the Alpine affiliation, now an ambassador for the Alpine Sim Racing team, and looking to try and do well with the full backing of their team. I must admit they've been absolutely delightful to work with and try and get everything sorted on the back end, because they've been truly a real backbone and a real supporter of what Vic is doing here, and not only within W1, but in her own streams as well. And it's that partnership that really makes things work, and it's something that we're quite accustomed to, but you love to see that the esports teams are getting involved in this now more and more.
Absolutely. I fully concur with that. Only Vic is going to take to her first full push lap in anger. Straight line mode opened, battery to burn. When does she choose to do it? The answer is save her tokens for after the first 3 turns. A brief yellow flag. Drivers have to be a bit careful when slowing down because the yellow flag gets rid of the overtake mode. In other words, the increase of battery capacity. It can nullify people's attempts to do a lap and save all of that battery. The other thing I've noticed, Lee Woodward has gone a bit faster. They've done 2 consecutive push laps, as Vic has apparently gone purple in Sector 1. The Alpine effect is real. Hold your horses, ladies and gentlemen.
Purple in the first sector, according to the game, it was an 18.3, which puts her on par with a few of the drivers looking around kind of your 10th to your 15th place at the moment. But again, it was a tentative start, we'll put it that way, as they headed into the first corner, not wanting to burn too much battery. And again, it's a lot of confidence you have to have in this era of Formula One cars, and you have to be confident when to burn the battery, not when to burn the battery. And at the moment, you're just finding your feet, and that's what pre-season's for.
Absolutely. Over the overtake zone in the race, be within a second. You get the extra capacity in qualifying. All out action. Haas gets out of the way. Well, it's a Ferrari, excuse me. Gets out of the way with a bit of lawn mowing. Straight line mode open. Battery to burn. Only Vic's first foray is 16th place with a 1 minute 11.9. But it was tentative into that first sector. Plenty of time to find. As it stands then, top three separated by just over a tenth of a second, as Sarah Hardy in the Williams goes into 12th place, slap bang in the middle of the pecking order with a 10.9. We're nearly halfway through this qualifying session. Strong markers have been laid down early doors, but there's still so much learning to do. There
really is. And again, I must admit, the drivers have been thrown into this new regulation of cars, and others with commitments to schooling and to work, they'll have had less practice than others. But to look at the gaps here, Carl, and you look up and down the field, it is so close to a pre-season race here. We've got the top, let's try and do some mental maths here. We've got the top 7 all within a second of each other. The top 13 within 2 seconds. And again, these are only probably the first or second preliminary runs that our drivers have been doing, as we did see a driver jump up. Was that Regan jumping up? It was up to 4th place for Regan Boylan.
Showstopper. Vanessa's even gone quicker, 1 minute 9.1. That right there, that's an astonishing lap from Regan Boylan. That came out absolutely nowhere for me. Fantastic work in the Audi. 4th place for the time being. Everyone, sit upright in your chairs because a new challenger has entered the battle.
This is going to be a really interesting qualifying. I appreciate this is pre-season. People will take it with that pinch of salt, but actually I think this gives us a lot to look out for as we head into Season 2 proper, which kicks off at Silverstone. And I'm not to toot W1's horn just a little bit too much, but I must admit, I've seen the graphics. I've seen the race week and the race day graphics for round 1 in a couple of weeks. Scotty Designs has absolutely cooked on them. They look phenomenal. I wish I could leak them, but actually I'm going to try and stay professional at this moment in time and make sure they go out when they're meant to go out. But do keep an eye on social media for them.
Oh, we adore you, Scotty. The graphical god at the moment. Banzai around Brazil. Olivia Collins is going to break into... We're going to break into the 1 minute 8s before too long. 1 minute 9.0. Thielking could be close. Perkins breaks into P3 for the moment. What's the Cadillac driver up to? They're just over a tenth up on their time. That would see them currently 2nd place. They need a bit more going into that final sector. Across the split, it's purple. It's nearly 3 tenths up. TK, we're going to see a 1 minute 8 before too long.
I think we certainly are. They were purple in the first. They're looking incredibly quick. A 35.2 in the second puts them right on touching distance of claiming it. Catherine Thielking up towards the line, then hugging that left-hand side as close as they can. They go fastest into the 108. It's a 108.875. Cadillac are to the top of the timing charts, Carl.
The times are cascading down, and Cadillac with a cutthroat showing a 1 minute 8.8. Statement lap already. New machinery, no problems. Catherine Thielking on it like a car bonnet as we have the 2nd Ferrari out and about on the track. Trying to prize themselves off the bottom purely because they haven't set a lap time yet, but that will all happen in good time. Into the right-hander, Pico de Pato gets the car through. Plenty of momentum carried. Save as much battery as you can. They are well aware of that. Just dipping below half, but the braking will give them that extra recharge, which is good news because now it's a blitz all the way down to the line. As well, they have already, just over half the battery at their disposal. Very quickly that is drained. Very quickly they will reach the start-finish line to christen themselves with a 1 minute 10.6, slap bang in the middle of the pack.
Absolutely a solid lap. We saw Sharkstorm, I think, just a minute ago going faster. They've pipped Regan Boylan, so they are now in 5th fastest position. Olivia Collins has jumped up to 2nd as well in the Mercedes seat, one of our reservists for this season. The Brit looking to, start as they mean to go on, I think is probably the best way we can try and describe this here, Carl. And we look at now, Lee Woodward, previous champion and Season 1 champion here within W1 Sim Series. They're looking for what will be their 2nd flying lap, second proper flying lap of the session. They've got just over 6 minutes left. So another opportunity to go if they do not feel this one is going to give them ample opportunity. But a great toe. They're going to get up towards the start-finish line, and up towards it they go. Crosses it. It's not quite enough to see them into the 118s. It's 0.003 of a second short, but it was purple in the final sector.
Was purple indeed. Olivia Collins into the pit lane at illegal speeds, quite frankly, but we shall ignore that because it's not the main race. But this is the second time I've seen Lee Woodward do this tactic of a double push lap. Do a lap, let the fuel burn off, find how you're going to manage your battery, and then go again. That's the second time. It's proved to be pretty lucrative for them, as we see Def Not Jazz. It is. Through the left-hander, charging up the battery. It's got so much battery to play with. Perhaps the tactic they're going for, although they might have just done a push lap, it would seem to me they have, because they are 8 tenths down. It will be a retreat to the pit lane. What is good news is, so far in our social races, in the 2025 cars at least, we haven't had a repeat winner. Social race 1 went to Alexis Mason at Belgium. Second race at Monza went to Charlotte Perkins. Catherine Thielking put on a dominant display for the most part at Bahrain. Emma Clay put on a great fight towards the end though. And then you had Lee Woodward take it in Japan. Could we see 5 from 5? Thielking and Lee Woodward at the moment. Well, Thielking in particular seems like she's just got an edge on the rest of the competition. But we're into that final flurry. The track will be at its best. We'll really see who can hook it all up as Vanessa gets perilously close. 3 thousandths off. My goodness me, the margin's compressing all the time.
It really is, getting ever closer between our drivers, and I think Catherine Thielking may be a little bit worried by what Vanessa can do. Of course, another of our reservists for this season, the number 67, they are racing alongside and being, well, from Austria, so lovely, well, somewhat connection to the Ferrari outfit, but when choosing their number, they were basically allowing us to give them free choice of what they were running. One of the drivers suggested the number 67, I can't guarantee as to why, and they have ended up running that, which actually is quite a nice one at the moment, standing in 6th fastest position. And Carl, one thing I haven't shown you at the moment, and this is something that's quite cool, we'll show it on board with Vanessa here. We've had the condition graphic of the car updated for the 2026 season. Look at that.
Amazing. Look at the angles, the lines, the curves of the car. You've got to love the way the 2026 cars look. Just a little bit more mean, slightly smaller, but it's just got those pointed edges. It feels like we're returning back to Formula 1. It's fantastic stuff as Lee Woodward goes into 3rd place. It's the 3rd driver to breach the 1:09 barricade. It is compressing rapidly, and if their tactic is anything to go by, either A, they're going to push on again, which I highly doubt, yes, the battery charging, or B, which is what I'm anticipating, they're going to recharge the battery, go for a 2nd push lap in a row. 3rd time's the charm, potentially, for our Season 1 champion.
You're right, they've invalidated this run, so it will be almost a mandatory recharge lap. We watch Regan Boylan, 3.7 seconds down on her previous best, making that 5.2 on what was almost certainly a recharge lap for themselves. They've done 3 laps on this set of tyres at the moment. And I'd be intrigued to see how they run through, because through the CNRSs, that looked pretty confident, I'd argue. And we had to see, I think, I've seen someone jump up at the top. Who was that? Was that Shut? I'm tripping. I'm seeing things here, Carl. It's not a good start.
I think no one jumped up as well. I'm going to have to make sure I'm not indeed the madman. Madman Madge, speaking of which, is in P8. Hardly talked about the V-Carb driver, but they're doing a damn good showing, it must be said. Regan Boylan, colour me impressed. I did not expect this, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I really did not expect this. This turn of pace is quite phenomenal. So, hats off to you. Respect. 2026 cars, this could be Regan's game. The proclamation of trying to beat Lee Woodward to the Drivers' Championship could yet come true. Through the final sector goes Regan Boylan. Will have a tow from the Alpine up ahead, and that is great news for them.
Not finding time though through the middle sector, as 1.2 down on their previous best, so might be another opportunity. You can see the battery fully charged at the bottom of the halo. I think they're going to come in if they do so. Yeah, that could be qualifying done with 2 minutes exactly remaining in session. I don't see how they're going to go faster. I think the driver that did jump up might have been Curious Fire up to 11th, or it was Madge up to 8th. So a couple of drivers really starting to find form here at the moment, and with less than 2 minutes, you really want to be out of the pits within the next 20 seconds or so to get those final outlaps in. We see the likes of Catherine Thielking and Vanessa as well, both of those on outlaps at the moment. Olivia Collins is running on a hot lap through the exit of the final corner and up towards the line. Can they find enough to take away pole position? No, it's still the barest of improvements and still struggling to break into that 1:08 barrier.
perilously close, but again, I think they've used their tokens a bit too much in the first and second sector. It's that final sector where Theo King at the top saves all the battery, and I'm certain Vanessa in the Ferrari's doing it as well, to blitz it all the way to the line, make sure there is the maximum potential of straight line speed, and they're using it very well. Look at this, the final flurry, pretty much everyone and their dog is out on the track, setting lap times, and we are on board with the woman in provisional pole, Catherine Theo King, second most winningest driver of Season 1. Cadillac pinches in beautifully over the curb for the right and then the left. Keep it in none, a little bit of a snap at the rear. How much do you pinch it into the apex? The answer is that was biting in absolutely beautifully. McLaren gets dutifully out of the way. No yellow flag to compromise the battery. It's a 10th down. Have they got enough battery? Is the distant tow going to help improve the margin up the top?
We'll have a see. Through the final corner they run. No need to dab on the brakes, but up towards the line, the straight line mode enables. No! Into the pits for Theo King. They can't improve.
So, all eyes on Vanessa as there's almost a massive crash into the pit lane. Too dramatic, it wasn't that fast. But anyway, Olivia Collins will, I assume, retreat or somehow get another lap in.
Yeah.
Yes, they will. 15 seconds, you're right, TK. One final push for the Mercedes driver on a lighter car, but slightly used tyres. Vanessa is the one to watch. Half a tenth up on their time currently. Just a few corners to traverse. Have they saved the battery? Will it be pole for the Ferrari?
We'll have to look. Checkered flag flies on qualifying, so if you're not started a lap already, you do not get the opportunity to start another one. We ride on board with Vanessa up towards the line, then we'll see a car in the distant future, not necessarily giving as much of a tow as the Ferrari driver would like, but up towards the line they go. Can they go faster? No, 17 thousandths of a second. They lose out by that much. Next across the line will be their teammate, the other Scarlet Ferrari. This will be Lily Bowling. As they make their... Sorry, Lily Browning, my apologies. There's two very similarly named drivers, and I'm going to get that wrong all season. But Lily up towards line, no, invalidates through the final corner. So that is not going to be the way that they like to see this go. We've got to keep an eye on Sharkstorm as well, but not improving through the second.
It's 3 thousandths the gap currently at the top. I'm on the edge of my seat. You should all be too, although I see the battery flashing. There is none left. Lee Woodward on a hope and a prayer to try and improve. It's not going to happen. Olivia Collins, have they found the time? No. Spears it into the wall. Drama. Left, right, and centre. Jessica Ball going to retreat to the pit lane as well. And if you ever needed an indication of what this season is going to look like, look no further than the top two. 3 thousandths. If that isn't an indication of the race to come, I don't know what is.
Well, here we go then. You can see your complete order for the 22 drivers that will take to your screens. The top two separated, as you said, by just 3 thousandths of a second. We've then got a double McLaren, well, 3 and 4 as it stands, and they are millimetrically separated. Sharkstorm, that's Lee Woodward in third, with Charlotte Perkins in fourth. Olivia Collins coming in fifth with Regan Boylan, with a true show of pace, I must add, coming up to sixth place. We've got Esme Chambers seventh, Jessica Ball eighth. We've got Madge, again, another one of the reservists taking a step in this evening. They find themselves in ninth with Angel Kirby in 10th. And again, new drivers really starting to prove themselves here.
Absolutely. What a session. Fantastic stuff. Well, there closes the qualifying curtain, and Catherine Theo King's at the top of the tree. Who's really surprised? But it's only by 3 thousandths to Vanessa in the Ferrari. And all McLaren second row with Lee Woodward and Charlotte Perkins, Olivia Collins, Regan Boylan, hats off, Esme Chambers, Jessica Ball, V-Carb, Haas, they round out the top 10. That is the rest of your order. Wow, that's a qualifying session for the ages. I can't believe how that's traversed out, and that's just qualifying. We've got a whole race to do, and that's a completely different kettle of fish. It can't be all-out attack and all-out warfare. They've got to play it very intelligently out there.
They really do. 36 laps, it's a long time to manage that battery for and hold it on time and time again. And, you know, we mentioned earlier in the show, it's nice to see, you know, communities and teams getting involved. Obviously, Regan signing with Tasman ResTech over the course of this last week, which is fantastic to see, being one of their F1 ambassadors. And I believe, if memory serves, their first ever female member within TRT as well, which is making huge strides in TRT. I know a few of you guys are in chat. Fantastic to see you, and thank you for coming along and saying hello.
Indeed. Massive hello to you all, and it is making tidal waves in the scene. It's brilliant to see. Goes without saying, like I say, the background of what's been happening between seasons, the progress that drivers have made on social media, whether it's their driving as well, or both even. Yeah. It's been fantastic to see. It's a credit to all of them, honestly. We see Hannah, by the way. Hello, Hannah. Hope you're doing well. She says, the 2026 cars are like a Subaru. They look nicer than they drive.
I get that. No, that's fair.
I thought the Subarus drove quite well, and they were not really the best. I don't know. Listen, it's a subjective opinion.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. It's subjective, but can't go wrong. 2026 cars. If that's the introduction, what a race we're going to be in for.
Exactly. There's a lot to look forward to, I think, as we head into getting everything properly accustomed and properly acquainted. Of course, we must remember this is a pre-season race. There is an opportunity for drivers to get themselves prepared and ready for season proper. And then those 10 rounds is where it really is going to come down to battle stations, I think. There's a lot to, talk about. We've got reservists galore. And I mean, I've got a list of every single driver that's taking part here today. And the season as well. That's not just today's. But I think we've got such a mix of nationalities as well. It's lovely to see. That is one factor that I don't think gets talked about enough.
No, for sure. The geographical gravity of this series is brilliant. I mean, you've got only Vic and Alicia Hoflack full-time in the Alpine from Great Britain and Belgium. 2 Welsh drivers in the Aston Martin. You've got the Dutch in the form of Miss Nutrix in the Ferrari, Swiss driver in Vanessa Hostetler, the Philippines, Ireland, the USA. It's brilliant. The geographical representation is fantastic. I couldn't agree more with you. And in the reserves as well. You've got Finland, you've got Canada, Poland. Oh, come on, we're gonna tick off Guinness World Record, league with the most countries in it.
I wonder what that record would stand at. I'm trying to think of like leagues that have got probably really multinational viewing, but I don't think there's gonna be many. With a lot more than that. Obviously, you mentioned so many different countries, and we will see probably the majority of them over the course of the season as we continue on, and we'll need people stepping in, so it is going to be interesting. But we've come to that time of the evening. Obviously, we've got the lobby reset. That stays the same. But I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask chat as well, whether you're watching on Twitch and or YouTube, I want some predictions off you all. Who do you think is going to win?
Do you know, it's the first time where I've got a massive debate in my head in terms of, because this is uncharted territory for a lot of drivers. Some of them have done league races or practice races or got the learnings that they needed. But this is the first time we're going to see all of these drivers battling it out with one another. It's the first time we'll see how they play the strategy of the battery. I'm gonna say it's Vanessa that's gonna win it. For some reason, I have a gut feeling. I think it will be really close between her and Theo King. I think they've got that extra ounce of knowledge in terms of how the regulations work. Between them, anyone's game, but I'm going to say the Ferrari. TK, what do you think?
I'm gonna flip it the other way. I'm gonna say Cadillac will take their first ever victory in Formula 1 under the hands of Catherine Theo King, because they looked so dominant in qualifying. They looked actually so composed. We saw the laps they were doing. There was no sense of urgency. There was no sense of needing to throw the car into every corner, which you sometimes see with pole laps, especially on esports, where it's like you are taking humongous risks to get minimal gains. And I don't think we saw much of that from Theo King. So it's going to come down to battery management. We know it's going to come down to battery management. It's something that we're not going to stop talking about battery management over the course of the season, because it is 50% of how the cars get their power now. But that is going to be a real strategic element that I'm not quite sure how it's going to favour. We haven't even talked about tyres or pit stops yet, because that is a whole other debate that will come slightly later. But it is really interesting one to see how it goes. I think some new reservists are going to come in and really surprise us. You mentioned Nessa. Maj obviously took a couple of social races over the course of the pre-season, but we've got names in there like Collins and obviously Charlotte Perkins, who were proven drivers in Season 1, who are now taking that step down to reserve to fill in where drivers need covering. And what can they pull out their hat when called upon?
Yeah, we've got a very strong yield of drivers. I think there's no secret to that. Lily Browning's in the chat, says P11, very happy with it, as you should be. Progress is good progress, and I think this is a really competitive grid. Yeah. Ultimately, you've got Theo King, Vanessa, you've got the 2 McLarens who are extremely quick. Olivia Collins not far off either. You've got Regan Boylan who's not far off them either. The race is going to be so interesting. I think to talk about strategy, in my opinion, barring safety cars, it should be an easy one-stop. Because the tyre wear generally is less. You are lifting and coasting into corners, you're taking less speed to try and save up that battery naturally. That means fuel can be lower as well, most generally speaking, because then the fuel will just give itself back. You can have a lighter car. I think the interesting thing will be consistency. Setups are not optimized yet. Driving styles are not optimized. It sort of rewards being patient, not just in the battery, but in the way you drive as well. You try and kick the car out too late, the rear end is not a happy bunny. So there's got to be patience from multiple angles being approached by everyone out there tonight.
Absolutely. I had a slightly worrying message off Lee Woodward earlier, and I'm going to explain, because they put it in the Twitch chat as well. They said, remember, trust the strategy. Don't judge it until it doesn't work. And now I'm concerned that this is going to be something ridiculous, like a 3 or a 4-stop strategy, because that's the only thing that I can think of that is so bizarrely bonkers enough out of left field that it's not going to make sense to either one of us that have done this for a very, very long time.
Honestly, I'd love to see a race with multiple stops. It'd be great just to have that variance. I mean, to coin on real life quickly, we saw it at the Spanish Grand Prix. It was a toss-up between 2 or 3 stops. Something like that would be fantastic to see. Who's going to go aggressive and who's going to perhaps play it a little bit more carefully. I'm still going to say it's an easy 1-stop at the end of the day, barring safety cars, which could happen because people aren't used to these cars. They aren't used to the way that they drive. There can be chaos. You never know.
You do not. And remember as well, with the introduction of Season 2, there is no formation lap, so we will be getting going right from the very get-go. You don't have to worry about sitting through a formation lap, but that also means it's a fun game for Carl and I as to when do we switch over to actually watch the race, and when do we continue waffling. But I haven't seen many predictions in chat of who they think is going to win, apart from Hannah claiming that I somehow am going to win this race. I'm not quite sure that's either physically or psychologically possible at this moment in time.
Amidst the sea of blame TKs that have been raining in, there is that glistening ocean sunfish of TK is going to win the race, and I respect that. Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate that as a commentator. I like that. Harry says my bet is on only Vic. Seb, who is not biased, says Vic and Alicia he's rooting for. Okay. I see you. We've then got Elite Silver saying I will jump in a car and win. Cheers, mate. Ertl says Vic is going to put in a Verstappen-esque race. I want to see it. I want to see greatness in that Alpine car. It would be a nice show. I think whatever happens, just enjoy the entertainment. It's the last social race we're going to have before we get into the competition proper. Let's all just enjoy it together. Not that we won't enjoy the competition, of course, but just enjoy it. Have some fun out there. Let's bring the camaraderie.
Absolutely. I must have missed a couple, because I think we did see Regan and Kiwi being voted for as well. Obviously, Lee's got some votes. And again, a hashtag blame TK has been put in the chat, and now's probably a good time. If you don't know where that reference is from, come join the Discord. It's good fun. Everybody gets along quite nicely. I think on Twitch, !Discord should work. Hopefully, Victoria's here to not break stuff. If she's there, we go. !Discord. Come join the Discord. Get yourselves involved. All the latest news, updates, everything you want to know about W1 is in that server. And yes, occasionally I get blamed for things that aren't my fault.
As Victoria might say, so they claim. But it's just, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's a wonderful place to be as well. W1, me and TK make no secret of it. No. It's one of the best league atmospheres we've ever been had the pleasure of commentating on. It's just so uplifting. And we're still seeing that into Season 2 as more names get involved, as the gravity of W1 pulls more people in. You've got that ever-growing ring of support happening. Yeah. And, well, who knows what the future holds, but bring on Season 2, bring on the social race. I mean, we've seen all the cars being played in qualifying. Let the race cook.
Absolutely. And we mentioned earlier, 36 laps around this historic circuit in Brazil, and we're just waiting for the grid to be finalised, and then we can get going. Because there's now 2 more drivers that you've got to sort into that list, and as someone that used to do it with PSG or PCF1 on a weekly basis, it is the most annoying thing to do on this game is try and set a grid up, because the names keep... I swear they keep bouncing around on you, no matter where you put them. They just reshuffle themselves at full will. But nonetheless, we do thank Jessica Ball for hosting this lobby and for sorting it all out. I believe she's not here in round 1, so we will have another host to try and figure out how to do it all. But I think they have said they've already found their replacement. So, hey, good preparation at bare minimum.
I like that. We like good preparation. Do you know what? Quickly, shout outs to all the staff. I think, again, goes without saying, but shout outs to all the people in the background you don't see who have made this possible, who keep on making this series carry on in the way that it does so efficiently and so beautifully. So, you know who you are. Shout outs to all of you. Silver said blame cut. What for? Like, what is this, man? I'm catching strays. What are we doing? I don't like this.
Don't like it. Victoria said we're organised. We are sometimes. Although staff chat is a mix of being organised and getting the season planned, and then stuff that ends up in a Hall of Fame area that I'm not going to talk about anymore because that is not needed. Good to see Rio, everybody else as well. And we're so close to season 2 now. It's one of those things that this is that last hurdle before we get into the season proper and we get into that 10 race calendar. And I know the drivers are so excited. I know everyone at home is so excited for it. And we've seen the communities on the various people really start to get behind it as well. Obviously, we're missing some big names this evening. We're missing both Ferraris, of course, Emma Clay and Miss Nutrix. We're missing Alexis Mason. We're missing Heather as well. We really hope the weather is nice, wherever she is. I think she's up somewhere in the southern Europe. But nice in the weather here at the moment. I had to get one in. It's hard when she's not racing. What can I say? We do it when we can.
Very clever, RTK.
Yeah. Oh.
Very clever. I see you there. Well done. To describe, quickly just to allude, there are some pitfalls that drivers are going to face today, mainly with the lift and coast. They just have to have their wits about them. They are going to be following as closely as possible, but that closing speed, when there is the lift and coast, circa Franco Colapinto and Ollie Behrman at Japan in real life, it's scary, and accidents can happen, particularly if drivers don't have their wits about them. So expect maybe trains at times, but also drivers taking alternative lines just to ensure that there isn't a massive pile-up, because it can and possibly will happen. That's the main thing to watch out for.
Absolutely, and I think where traditionally a lot of these circuits had those straights where you could probably mentally switch off for a large number of it, we can't see that anymore with the battery management that is going to have to come into this effect, and it's going to be a real mental toll, probably more than a physical toll actually, that we saw in 24 and 25. That is going to be the game that I think drivers will struggle with. The 50% are going to be that stalking horse, that middle ground of can we go for the longer distances, but we've seen drivers already do 100% races in this. And for the guys that have done it for years and years, I'm talking the Creator Series boys, because obviously we've had 2 rounds of the season so far. It's a real mental toll for even those guys that have done it for 10 years plus on these games.
Yeah, exactly. The psychological payout is immense. But I'll be honest, I quite like it. I like the strategy that it brings. I'm not necessarily the biggest advocate for how the 2026 regulations are at the moment, but the element of strategy that the battery brings in terms of when you play your tokens, if you want to be unorthodox and then kind of compromise yourself, or whether you just play it a bit smarter, play it a bit safer, but then run that risk of being overtaken, as my mic runs the risk of falling over. The point is, though, it's great. It's great to see the smart strategies being brought forward. We're going to see that tonight. We're going to see them evolve during the season. So, yeah, I'm all for it. In a strategic point of view, it's going to be a corker to watch.
It absolutely is. That 2-minute countdown has started as well for our drivers. They have a mandatory kind of 2-minute waiting period to allow everybody to get themselves prepped and ready on the grid to apply the setup to get their strategies completely streamlined. And then from there, we head straight into the race. So it is trying to catch us out a little bit, so that's why we're kind of hovering on this screen for the time being. Although I wish we could see the grid. In some of these camera angles you get a brief glance. I think Silverstone's one of them. We get a lovely kind of side-eye glance of the grid for the most part, but at the moment we're kind of looking along the grid and we can see all the garages, all the engineers, the teams that would be getting themselves prepped and ready because they're hoping for no lap 1 pit stops.
They are hoping so. Marshals are ready and waiting. Look at them. I've never seen more energised officials in my life. Watching garage content. Unbelievable.
They've always wanted to be a football steward, realistically, and actually this is how they're acting it out. They're backs to the action, everybody. That is how we go from it. Victoria said there isn't even anyone watching from the balconies. You know what?
Nope.
I've just noticed that. They're still having their dinner. This is 10 minutes before race start IRL. They're all still having their lunches. But we have been told drivers can ready up now, so this is going to be where we get ready to go racing. It is an EA moment. Welcome to F1 26, everybody. But I can confirm we might not have spectators in the grandstands. I don't think many people are going to be complicit about that, but we have got the beautiful W1 Sim Series sponsor boards and everything you see around the circuit built by the fantastic guys over at Venturi Studios, and you should go give them a lot of love. They're doing a lot of the graphics that you're seeing on our socials, and actually I believe the pole position and the race winner graphic as well. But here we go then, for the first time, Season 2 pre-season. The lights go out, and we go racing, and it's a very tentative start from a lot of our drivers trying to be cautious, but Catherine Thielking in towards the first corner. Nessa tries to go side by side, but both McLarens trying to go side by side as well. Esme Chambers alongside Charlotte Perkins through the centre S's as they run down the Retta Raposta towards turn 4. Curious Fire and Lily Browning as well going side by side further back. Yellow flag, as it looks like Stark Loki and Lady Milligan have had a bit of a coming together, the tete-a-tete, as we see more battles going on. Only Vic getting up places as well. Further back damage for the Williams car, and that's Lauren Nodding, I think, getting damage from Ray M plate, almost certainly missing for that Williams, and that will be a first lap pit stop.
Lauren nodding, head is shaking. It's devastating for the Williams crew. McLaren's Lee Woodward in P3. Sat pretty at the moment. There's your strategies at the bottom. Most definitely a one-stop will occur. Regan Boylan has survived the first few corners, ladies and gentlemen. Luck has stayed on her side. It's down a few positions, but just has to develop the rhythm. As well, Vanessa Ostetler's disconnected. Not ideal, but Thielking is nearly a second ahead already. Race pace has always been her forte, and it's coming up to a massive crescendo already. Now the battery will be used by Vanessa, who will get back into that 1 second range. Overtake mode, of course, but Lee Woodward, look at the difference in the deployment. Through goes the Season 1 champion. Through goes Esme Chambers. Contact. Off goes the Ferrari. Vanessa into the runoff area. It's a devastating end to the first stanza for the Maranello concourse.
Not how she would have liked to see that go. Of course, started in second place, had a good run, and then it all went a little bit downhill. Lee Woodward aggressive in towards the first corner. We're seeing Esme Chambers going for a move on Olivia Collins in towards that first corner as well. We saw Nessa side by side with Charlotte Perkins. So everybody starting to get their elbows out really early. Still the battle rages on between Collins and Chambers here as we head in towards the second sector. I don't think anybody's safe at the moment. These battles are everywhere on the grid. I'm going to be struggling this season, I think, to keep up with everything that's going on up and down this field. I think they're starting to settle down. They're starting to find a rhythm. We see only Vic and Katie Grafton further back going side by side in towards the second sector as well. The Alpine, who will have that inside line, a little bit of bumping, but rubbing is racing, as they say. And only Vic up to 14th.
Marvellous manoeuvre. Don't call it the blue blur for nothing. That was escaping from the city from only Vic up to P14. Good start from the Alpine driver as we move onto the end of lap number 2. Imperative that Thielking tried to escape. She's on those medium tyres. Lee Woodward on the hard compound, well within overtake range. But both of them escaping from this glorious battle behind. From P5 down to P9 even, because Regan Boylan at the end of that train, as Zara Shahsavari and Carlotta Marchi get to work in battling side by side. Plenty of racing room and respect. Through goes the Fury from Faenza. V-Carb going to drop a couple of places. It's 3 wide into the... My goodness me. Absolutely unbelievable battling as bump draft from Vanessa to get Charlotte Perkins out of harm's way. Shake of the rear end to say absolutely not sunshine. That's not part of the game plan. But all positions are fair, and Regan Boyd, that's Angel Kirby, my apologies, trying to steal a march on the V-Carb as well. There are battles left, right and centre. New regulations are going on handsomely as only Vic is again on the move. Past Zara, who might well have made a mistake. Another position gained for the Alpine.
Absolutely stunning. They said in chat that only Vic was going to be on the Max Verstappen-esque crawl. They started all the way down in 18th place. They've gained 5 places in 3 laps here. Only Vic has. And we see a change happening for the lead here. Lee Woodward going for a move past Catherine Thielking on the start-finish straight to start off lap 4. And the driver in the McLaren outfit, the Papaya rules. The Papaya pilot finds himself in the prime position.
Very difficult to get outside of overtake. Once someone has overtake, they normally just sit in there. That's why you see these trains developing. That's why you could see some unorthodox moves being made. Something very orthodox about this one, though. Simplicity in motion. Regan Boylan, Vorsprung durch Technik into the left-hander. Easy move, up to P8, but then there's that rear-end snap. Just taking too much speed in the car. Extremely unforgiving. And Angel Kirby with the immediate switcheroo.
And not the way I think you'd have liked to see that race or the overtake done. And you see Angel Kirby back up to 8th place. And Jess Ball on the back of this battle as well now, as this is going to try and continue. But they are going to try and get onto the back of the battle for 5th place. That's made up by the likes of Charlotte Perkins, Nessa and Madge as well. So 5, 6 and 7 respectively in this train at the moment. We'll jump up to the front here just to see what Catherine Thielking's going to do. They've got Olivia Collins for company as they make their way out of what is the last heavy braking zone on this circuit. Will they burn whatever battery they have available? Or is it going to be a case of they might try and defend from drivers behind because they're already quite low as they head across the line? They're looking to the inside, but I don't think they're close enough on this occasion.
closing in on Lee Woodward. It's a question of when the hards are going to usurp the mediums in terms of pure pace, but for Catherine, she's probably content just sitting here for the time being, maybe using Lee Woodward just to couple her along, use the train of the top 3 to keep away from Esme Chambers, who's running very well in clear air. Never mind. Down the inside. Game plan ripped to shreds. Through goes Catherine Thielking. Again, lots of drivers getting caught out by the overspeed into turn 4. Not nearly as exacerbated in the case of Catherine Thielking, who does keep the lead of this race. Vanessa trying to make up places. That was a very, very egregious corner cut through turn number 4. And that is a position that the V-Carb rightly takes. And then Charlotte Perkins with a mistake through Ferragura. Suboptimal.
Yeah, that was actually Lily Browning that made that very, audacious attempt through turn 4 and the exit of 5, and they managed to get the place done. Obviously, Charlie or Carlotta Markey getting the place back right at the end. We welcome in everybody from E. Walker's stream as well. I appreciate the raid coming in over on Twitch. You joined us for the first pre-season race, and the only pre-season race, I must admit, of the W1 Sim Series, our second season here on the 2026 season. We see Lee Woodward in towards the first corner. Are they going to go for it? I think they're going to be patient this time around, Carl, because we saw what happened as you get the extra battery down towards turn 1. It's so easy to then get the second move in towards turn 4 and get the place back, essentially. We see Charlotte Perkins as well into pit road after that earlier spin.
Say Olivia Collins has also made an error. She was right on the cusp of challenging for the lead. Now down to P4. Vanessa finally gets past the V-Carb driver. Not a moment too soon for the Ferrari favour. McLaren in for an early pit stop, down to the back of the pecking order, but crucially, some clear air to work with. Regan Boylan decided turn 4 wasn't to her liking, so just sweeps around the outside of Ferragura before she even makes the double right-hander. A burst of the battery, and she's up into P7. Good little race between the Audi, the Haas, and the Red Bull. I said, Jessica Ball, that experience is going to pay off. A quick look at what happened the last time an overtaking attempt was made. Was nearly ahead by the time you get into turn 4. You're toying with your psychology, though. It's constant warfare. Do you brake late? Then you have the rear end snap. The cars do not take kindly to pushing them over the limit, and as a result, Regan just had to wait a little bit longer.
Actually did, unfortunately, and you can see you saw the rear end there, just wanting to try and step out through the 4th corner, and here we go, Lee Woodward up into the lead of the race now with Catherine Thielking, but both of them, and more importantly, 2 seconds adrift of Esme Chambers in the battle that will start to develop for P3 on circuit. I think we've had more drivers into the pits as well. As I have noticed the drivers in the Williams down all being overtaken. That's Curious Fire looking to the outside of the first corner, inside for second. Oh my goodness, that is certainly brave from the Cadillac outfit, and almost got the move made there, but brave to go around the outside. It opened up the inside of the second corner, and a little bit of contact between the two in towards the 4th, and will she go for it again? No, just plays the patient game. Just Curious Fire. That is Zara Shahsavari.
Ferrari versus Alpine. Only Vic's trying to break her way into the top 10. Alpine up to P11. Only Vic is on the move. The Verstappen-esque drive is bursting into fruition. Excellent drive so far from P18 on the grid, and next target is the V-Carb riding on board the rear view. The Alpine and the Ferrari in close quarters. A 3-second time penalty for the Cadillac of Zara Shahsavari. Curious Fire down in P14. Lots of interesting developments going on. We know that the top guys have got their batteries sorted out. They're doing extremely well. You see in this mid-pack, though, where perhaps it's not exactly figured out, you're seeing that learning. It's already lap 8, but they're already finding some great advantage. It's excellent to watch as we see Curious Fire get back past the Williams and the Cadillac go past the McLaren. Thielking back into the lead of the race. Snap on the exit, though. It's always turn 4 that's catching our competitors out tonight.
It's a tough one. It typically is the high downforce method that we're seeing here within F1 26. You want to try and run those egregious wings, because when you get the straight mode available, we see it 2 times on this circuit on the run down towards turn 1 and turns 4. But obviously everywhere else, you want to have as much downforce as possible for the majority to try and get the car turned in. And I think it's that just weight transfer. You get the rear wing closed sometimes as you're about to throw the car in, and it's really starting to unsettle, I think, a few of the cars. And again, trying to keep an eye on every single battle that is going on will be an interesting one. But Catherine Thielking, Lee Woodward already putting on a great show here. And ignore what you're seeing on your screens technically. They are using straight mode, I promise you. Again, I'm going to refer this to EA doing EA things and not showing us that on the broadcast. Carlotta Markey with a bit of a mistake as well in towards the final corner, and just finding the car resetting themselves on towards the circuit and getting going again. That's what you love to see.
Charlotte Perkins up to P18. Yvonne Houffalard rejoins the track. No harm done, no physical damage, just emotional. Lap 9, Lee Woodward is the race leader. Catherine Thielking, yes, in P2. And then you've got Vic versus the Ferrari. Carlotta Marchi has lost touch with this particular battle. This is for a place in the top 10. First foray as a full-time driver into W1. And only Vic is on the rampage. Regan Boylan, again, and Angel Kirby going in all-out combat. Through Ferragura, wide, too wide, on the grass, and there's the half spin. Jessica Ball moves up into P8. And I said, look out for her with her experience. Quietly been going about this race. She's up into P8. As drivers make mistakes and push the limits, she's always there and always ready and waiting.
Very, very easy corner to lose the car on. You want to try and take as wide a line on the entry into it. It's a flowing corner. But the minute you get a tyre on the gravel or the grass and you are just being sent around, a little bit ghosting here between Sarah Hardy and Katie Grafton. And I think that might be one of the casters off the circuit briefly, but come back on nonetheless. Although that is a bit of front wing damage you can see on the Aston Martin, and considerable front wing damage actually for the Lean Green racing machine, and a good bit of tyre wear to go with it as well.
But crucially, faster than the green machine in real life. Sorry. Katie Grafton in P15, keeping within a second of the Williams and the Cadillac. These three having a titanic tussle. Fantastic trio to keep our eyes upon in terms of feasting the beauty of battle as the Williams peels to the inside, burn of the battery, use of overtake mode. Through goes Sarah Hardy back into P13. Zara has to switch. Zara's going to hit the barrier on the left-hand side. Contact with the side pod, and there was only ever one outcome. Damage for the Cadillac, does regain the track, but that is not what they would have wanted. A big damage on the left-hand corner.
I think a lot of drivers may have been hoping and praying for a safety car now, and again, a lot of drivers just getting warmed up and accustomed to this car. It might be the first time they've raced side by side with in a league environment. That's probably the best way to look on the 26 regulations, and as we head into Season 2 proper, it'll be interesting to see how they develop over the next couple of weeks. We will expect them to obviously race more and have more understanding, because the DLC has only been out, what, 2 weeks, I want to say, off the top of my head, just over. So it is a lot to learn in a short amount of time.
Exactly. Charlotte Perkins on the soft tyres on the rampage has caught up to the back of Lainey Milligan, who herself is within a second of Death Not Jazz. It is in P15. Lap 11 of this race, and I think we can quite comfortably say as a late defence, I almost thought there was going to be a plane crash into turn 4. Doesn't look as close as it was, but when you move like that, when the cars are that close, you just never know what could happen. Vanessa with the battery to burn through Ferragura, and round they go. It might be a different story if there wasn't that contact into turn 1, but we have the class of the field. Lee Woodward, Catherine Thielking, they are storming on clear as we see the replay into Ferragura, already picked up the grass. That's going to give Regan some absolutely chronic understeer, and there's the doubling of the chronic understeer in the form of more grass. That's what allowed Jessica Ball into P8, but since then she hath lost that. Regan back up into P8 in the Audi.
Absolutely, and again, that's what it takes in these league environments, is if you drop it, if you make a mistake, just brush it off and start to go again. Again, we see Lily Browning here wanting to try and get on the back of Jessica Ball. This is still the 10th place battle, essentially battle for 9th place with Jessica Ball. Only Vic not far behind them, who has come up an almighty number of places in this race so far here, Carl. I must admit, started down in 18th. They now find themselves in 11th. So at some point, it was almost a position a lap.
It's the open lobbies experience coming to the forefront. Knows to expect chaos, can avoid chaos. Well done, Only Vic. In P11, slap bang in the middle of the pack, and gaining some really good consistency out there. Olivia Collins looking to regain and find that flow. Down in P5, I say down in P5, Charlotte Perkins on the rampage, down the inside, soft tyres, no contest. McLaren Maestro through to P14. The road to recovery very much on, as we are a third of the way through this race, and Lee Woodward has dropped Catherine Thielking significantly. 2 seconds the gap as the first Cadillac enters the pit lane in the form of Curious Fire.
Must remember as well, it is a difference of tyres though between both Woodward and Thielking. It's medium tyres on Esme Chambers, Olivia Collins, and of course Catherine Thielking. It was hard tyres for Lee Woodward right off the very start, so that could explain where that speed difference has come from. And actually, that's Lee Woodward coming through the first corner now to lap Curious Fire. That is Sarah Savari, but with the offset pit stops, we are expecting her to get that back in due course. So there's lots going on in this race, and, you know, nobody is down and out at the moment. That was actually Catherine Thielking coming out just ahead of her teammate Zara.
I saw a yellow flag. Vanessa's had a major moment at Jung Sao. I don't know if there's damage or anything like that, but she went extremely wide off the track. Car not entirely complying. No damage as far as we can see. Again, just emotional. But she went extremely wide. Again, not sure if there was contact between her and her seemingly arch nemesis in the form of Olivia Collins. So more drama being dished out for the Ferrari. Regan Boylan sniffs blood in the water. All out of sorts and off kilter is the Ferrari. The Audi's just going to blitz on through. Possibly technical difficulties. I don't expect Vanessa to be holding back that much into Ferragura. So what has happened to the Ferrari?
Is it a state of full recharge as well, which is not typically something you see. Might have had to, I think, potentially go AI for a moment. Obviously, we can't confirm or deny that on the stream here, as we do see Jess Ball, I think, has made a bit of a mistake again. Yeah, similar place. We saw Regan drop the car and tyres well and truly lapping up the grass cuttings that are around this circuit. Drops not one, but 2 places down to 14th. So both Sarah Hardy and Charlotte Perkins getting their way through. And speaking of Vic, she's up to 10th place, which is a fantastic achievement. Second of all, Carl, and I'm gonna call her out on this. I asked her earlier if she's got a telemetry on, but she was doing some time trial practice when she had time to go and check. And guess what? She's got a telemetry on. She hasn't got a name turned on for us though, but thankfully we can recover the rest of that from the number she runs. So 2/3, I respect it.
Absolutely. Credit to Only Vic. An amazing drive so far in the Alpine. The number 90 putting on a scintillating showing in the top 10 for the Alpine team. Sebastian, your prediction is coming on strong, my friend. Olivia Collins still within a second of Esme Chambers. Big slide out of the right-hander. And there's this big debate over how you use the ERS. On F126, people say you shouldn't use none at all because that's just internal combustion. You have no speed at all. Others saying maybe you should use it for traction. Personally, I use a bit of none to just keep the tyres in check, keep the rear tyres in particular still in the game very much so, and both Esme Chambers and Olivia Collins deciding they need to ditch the medium tyres with immediate effect. On lap 15, which is pretty much prime time in terms of a one-stop, you can get the hards to the end of the race, and that is exactly what they will do. First of the leaders to pull the pit lane trigger.
Good stop from both drivers, no mistakes needed, and both Aston Martin and Mercedes-AMG Petronas, if you want to go full Martin Brundle, and make it out of pit road successfully. It looks a bit of a quarter cut there from Olivia Collins at the exit of the pits, and yeah, just finding the feet again at the exit is a rather narrow one. Nessa retires in the pits, that looks like. So yeah, one of the Ferraris has not had a good day, Carl.
Didn't think there was damage on the car. Well, it wasn't damage on the car. We saw it for ourselves, so I assume there's been a massive technical gremlin, which is such a shame to see. So we see Curious Fire holding on very nicely, of course with newer tyres, but holding on to their rapid teammate, Catherine Thielking. Gap 5 seconds at the front. Of course, that is down to the fact that there is the tyre difference. We assume Thielking will pit either on this lap or the next lap. We'll watch the body language of the Cadillac in front, and there it is, right on cue into the pit lane. Be careful not to speed. Massive lockup of the front tyres, but they do not speed, so all is well. Onto the hard tyres will go the Cadillac. Lee Woodward on the contra strategy will go to the mediums. We saw them have decent pace for about 9 or 10 laps or so, and then they sunk dramatically. So we might see that same effect. Thielking, by no means, is out of this one.
Absolutely, and it will be interesting to see how they handle those tyres, of course, with the lower fuel load and the well and truly deep in pit stop territory. We're expecting the positions 13th and down to make their way in very shortly. We'll have a reminder of how the tyres look, and oh my goodness, I've seen a Formula 1 car jump there, Carl, as that was Esme Chambers with all 4 tyres off the ground.
Contact with Olivia Collins, the Mercedes driver in the wars, and Regan Boylan is right in the conversation for this battle once again. Front wing damage for the Aston Martin, who almost took flight. Anyone on for the AMR Airlines? You almost could have got it. Orange front wing damage on the left-hand side, and what was a phenomenal and promising drive has gone slightly down the drain in a matter of moments. That's the beauty and yet the burden of this sport. Regan doesn't have the traction through the final corner on the older tyres. Through goes Olivia Collins for Esme Chambers. Well, it's a skulk round the track. Whether they choose to pit, whether they choose to carry on, they are carrying on for now. So, resilience remains, which is great to see. But big battle between Mercedes and Audi. Regan's not done yet. She's just going to hold it round the outside. There's absolutely not giving this one up without a fight. She might have fought the farm, to be honest, because through, with no front wing damage, with newer tyres, goes the Mercedes, and that will put an end to this brutal battle.
I've had some information coming across my desk as well, Carl. It's an update on Vanessa, of course, retiring from the race earlier. It is a medical reason. I believe there was some injury that was sustained after the crash that happened early in the race. The wheel snapped, and they sounds like a thumb injury that has come in a good amount of pain. Of course, we've seen this before in many a custom where, you know, these wheels, especially the direct drive wheels, they can, when they snap violently, quite 9 times out of 10.
Yes, no, for sure. Well, Vanessa, firstly, we hope the injury isn't too severe. We wish you a speedy recovery. Get well soon. I'm really sorry that you're out of this race because of technical gremlins and whatnot. We have Olivia Collins all over the back of Esme Chambers in the meantime, though. Mercedes versus Aston Martin. It's going to be all-out warfare once again, because that's all it seemed to be whenever we focused in on 1, 2, and sometimes 3 cars in this race. At the fulcrum point, Olivia bides her time, saves the battery. It will then be a blitz down to Decina Del Lago for the 18th time, and a nibble at the diffuser for good measure. Battery blitz to the inside, goes the Mercedes. Esme Chambers might be not the most willing customer in the world to let the Mercedes through. Not that she's got a choice with the front wing damage. It's still going to be side by side for a moment, but there goes the Mercedes, up into the top 5.
Certainly a good move there in the end, but the battle's not over yet as the Aston Martin tried to swing around the outside. I don't think on this occasion it was going to be successful. We rejoined the battle up at the front. It's only Vic trying to hold off both the Audi Jazz Luna. That's Def Not Jazz, and Carlotta Marchi coming in, well, like a steaming bull in a china shop in towards the first corner there. That was Carlotta Marchi down in 13th place, and we also see Jessica Ball in 14th. So the battle's starting to hot up here. Of course, these drivers have completed their original pit stops, with the exception of Jazz Luna, has gone 18 laps on a set of those medium tyres. They all will be screaming out for some relief here, almost certainly. I'm curious on their strategy here, Carl. If they have gone 18 laps on a set of the mediums, the hard tyres, you're not going to use them to their full potential.
Well, they're not happy. Massive slide on the rear end through Ferradura, slide again through the right-hander. They're not too close to punch territory, in fairness, considering it's been 18 laps on the mediums. Said there'd be less tyre wear, and Keller surprise, indeed there is less tyre wear, but the rears have fought the farm. It's got to be a retreat to the pit lane, get some newer tyres on, develop your rhythm once again. But an impressive stint nonetheless, it must be said.
I think you're right in that the tyre wear physically is lower, but if you look at the temperature of the inside of those rear tyres, 108 degrees, 105 degrees, I think that's where the tyre model might have really changed for 26. They're not necessarily going to be as worn necessarily, but they just are going to overheat to that nth degree. As we look up the front of the field once again, Catherine Thielking manages to pass Angel Kirby, and is now on the back of Madge. Both of those drivers are yet to pit off of the hard compound of tyre, and we know the pit stop loss here, about 26 to 28 seconds, and Lee Woodward, well and truly within contention, as we do see there, Catherine Thielking trying around the outside of the V-Cub, and once again has to do it at the second time of asking, but I think in towards the first corner will get that move done, and can now go on the championship crusade to chase down Woodward.
I was going to pose the question of whether she would struggle to overtake Angel Kirby and the V-Carb. The answer was no. She didn't. No troubles at all. That's the difference in the newer tyres. This is what happened. Olivia Collins just gets underneath the diffuser. Massive scythe into the wall for Esme Chambers, and that could have been another potential injury on our hands. Luckily, it's not. Still going on strong. Just outside of a second of the Mercedes driver. Catherine Thielking up into P2. And we'll watch the progress of this gap. Currently at 18.3 seconds. She's gained about 4 or 5 seconds since her pit stop. That's the difference of the newer tyres versus the older tyres. But she's got to make progress very quickly indeed. Those mediums are rapid. We saw it in those first few laps. She's then got to weather the storm. She keeps in overtake. This race will come back to her, but she has to be patient with it.
Well, have a look on board. You can see that gap at what was, I think, 19, close to 20 seconds at one point is starting to fall off. Last lap around, it was a second and some change quicker for Catherine Thielking. It was a 12.8 for Lee Woodward. It was a 11.7. For Catherine Thielking, and they're just starting to find some true pace here. We'll have another look, and yeah, again, 1.3 seconds quicker was Woodward, was Hilking that time around as they entered on to lap 21. Angel Kirby has decided to come into pit road, and Def Jazz picks up a 3-second penalty for multiple violations of the track limits. Medium tyres going onto the Haas car to shortly see this race out now.
This is going to be interesting, I think, the final stint of this race, because we saw those medium tyres, not even 18 laps old in the case of I mean, fair play, but that's ridiculous. Even before 18 laps, 15 laps old medium tyres towards the end of their stint, even slightly before that, we saw those rears overheating, complaining on the inside carcass temperature. King doesn't have that problem anymore. The hards will retain their temperature. They'll keep in a stable window, so she can push to the end. Lee Woodward has got to make this move early, get on down the road, and just keep it consistent. 70% tyre wear on the rear left, so you can't fault them. They are pushing to the limit. And even more impressive than that, some lore behind Lee Woodward. For those of you that might be new to watching this, if you are, welcome. Lee Woodward plays on controller, so it just elevates their champion credentials even more, because that is some seriously impressive pace.
It really is. And one thing I've got to try and pose the question is, we see Madge picks up a 10-second penalty for speeding in pit road. Again, a really easy one to do here in Brazil. It leads you into a full sense of security. We're aware, obviously, of what Lee spoke to us earlier when she mentioned the strategy and not to doubt it. Is she going to go to lap like 30 before she pits?
Well, it would certainly be a bold strike. I think the margin would be too big to try and make up. And also the tyre will probably explode before she gets there. But if she does make it to lap 30, fair play. My guess is soft tyres.
That's
You're going to really push the limits of the soft tyres?
Well,
That'd be
Charlotte
interesting.
has just come off of them after running them for 16 laps and actually put on a fresh set of soft tyres. So I think from anywhere here on out, I'd say plausible is probably the right word. I wouldn't say possible, but certainly plausible as taking the tyres that long. There'd be some serious management involved, but we know what Woodward's like. We know she can look after the tyres. Whether she goes for it in a social race or the pre-season race, that'd be an interesting call.
Three-way fight towards the edge of the top 10 as well. Jessica Bull's made it through on Omnivic, as has Carlotta Marchi, using the psychological boost and compromise of momentum. Those two been gorilla glued by the hip pretty much the entire race. Has the V-carb and the Alpine driver, putting on a great show as wide goes the V-carb. It's always so much easier to be the hunter than to be hunted. Look at the grip that the Alpine has out of the left-hander in towards Pico de Pato. It's not the nicest weather for ducks. They're getting scorched. But either way, it is a tasty, tasty battle we have on our hands. Saving the battery, playing it smart. Could make the move towards Jung Sao, but not going to, as wide goes the other Alpine. That's Alicia Hofflack. Creates a distraction for Carlotta Marchi. And that's all the impetus only Vic needs. But look who's in P11. Charlotte Perkins. New soft tyres. This is going to be an absolute demolition job. Save the battery, but it's only a matter of corners now.
It certainly is. Just 14 laps to go here in Brazil, and you know, we know how powerful those soft tyres can be, and we do finally see Woodward into pit road then. The deficit 13.7 seconds back to King, who already is making their way down towards turn 1, and it is soft tyres going onto the car of Lee Woodward. And the question will be here, Carl, what deficit, what gap can King afford herself as she makes her way through the CNRSs before Woodward is released on those soft tyres once they're up to temperature, and the chase will well and truly be on with 12 to go.
The good news for the Season 1 champion is that it's clear air. There's Olivia Collins in the background. Those softs will obviously get up to temperature extremely quickly, and the gap on softs is only 6.2 seconds. And now, watch that gap be chomped very quickly. Through Ferradura, already gained a few tenths of a second. A bit tentative through the Ferradura corner, courtesy of the lap traffic, providing a slight distraction. Nothing that our Season 1 champion can't handle, though. And now we'll see the time exponentially drop. 5.8, 5.7, nearly 5.6. Into the right-hander they go. It's going to melt away that gap. But equally, so are the soft tyres.
It's a question of how many corners, how many laps are they reliable for here. They believe, under their assumptions, they will be able to go the full 13 laps at least some pace. Blue flag slightly ahead, and it is a purple second sector for Lee Woodward, which was to be expected here without stating the obvious. They come across the line. They won't set a purple lap this time around as Lady Milligan. That's a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings again. So a few drivers starting to pick them up as we do see Zara Shah Savari in towards pit road as well. But the gap here, Carl, already down to 4.6 seconds.
Softs are scary fast. We knew that would be the case. It's all just get them down the road and then longevity. As well, Seb says, softs, with all due respect, Lee, you're mad. Well, we'll find out if there is. Majesty behind the madness, I think, is going to be the quote I will use. Gap at 4.7 seconds now. Again, maybe some lap traffic distraction briefly, but then gains 3 tenths just by taking a later apex. It is an Alpine car that is going to be lapped in the form of Alicia Hoflack, I believe that is. And then through the left-hander goes the McLaren. 4.2 seconds now the gap for what is going to be, we have no doubt, a surefire fastest lap.
Absolutely. And we can see the gap continue to close down. It's mainly through the corners that they are really starting to, well, close in. We have got Only Vic leaving the session. That's not necessarily the best way to go about your race, and that almost could have been points for Only Vic if this was season proper. Of course, this is a pre-season race. There is a touch of salt to be able to take to all of these results here today. The first proper point scoring round will, of course, be back at the Earl Grey of British Motorsport. We're talking, of course, about Silverstone, where we head in 2 weeks' time, the 2nd of July to be exact. So mark your calendars, because you will want to be here at 7 p.m. UK time and translate that to wherever you are across the world. That is where you'll want to be as this season kicks off into full flow.
Well, I think what I will say, though, I know it's a disconnect and it's absolutely horrendous, but Only Vic, I'm impressed. I'm genuinely impressed. She's put on a magnificent display from 18th on the grid. Her race pace has been significantly better than what a qualifying pace was, and it showed. The open obvious experience coming in clutch, even with the disconnect, running towards the outer skirts of the top 10. It is an impressive showing for a first time as a full-time driver. It really is.
I think our game's crashed, we're being told in the chat. That is really disappointing. Vic's got me on Steam. She should be able to join straight back in, hopefully, without an invite. But to add insult to injury, yeah, game has well and truly put her onto a set of the medium tyres. That is now the 2-stop strategy for Only Vic this afternoon. And not necessarily the way they'd like to. They go more yellow flags in the first sector. I think one of the Red Bulls had a bit of a moment. Is that Laney? It is indeed through the exit of the Senna S's. Really, really unfortunate place to have it. And it's really, well, first of all, can we just appreciate that Aston Martin apparently got a new front wing here, Carl? They've got what they like to call the noseless front wing, which is A, impressive, and B, I'm almost certain defies the law of thermodynamics. Secondly, I've forgotten my train of thought.
Well, to be honest, for Aston Martin, it can't be any worse than what they're running in real life. I'd give it a try if I were them. Laney Milligan, on the other hand, float like a butterfly, swim like a butterfly. Oh, for God's sake, it's a rubbish quote. Back to the action. Lap 27 of the Brazilian Grand Prix. And we have Catherine Thielking in the lead of the race. However, you have also got, well, Lee Woodward, 3.3 seconds. I will say the gap has not come down at the rate I thought it would. The softs already potentially feeling the pain. It'd be interesting to see what the temperatures of the tyres are looking like for the McLaren Maestro. Curious Fire makes her way past LJ Ripley in the Williams. Rear right is at 104. That is an unhappy rear tyre, and that is why they can't quite extrapolate the pace. There is not enough stability in the rear tyres, and it is really hurting their chances of victory already. Catherine Thielking, with a more conservative but proven strategy, could well be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
It's a poor day to be a Pirelli soft tyre. I could have sworn I heard saxophones, but maybe that was just me spending far too much time on the internet. I genuinely, maybe that was a car and it just sounded like it reverberated because I've only got one headphone in, and it obviously was some weird left-right thing. I genuinely thought I heard saxophones for a second there. That was really trippy. I was wondering who was starting that off, but we see Charlotte Perkins as well. Fresh soft tyres on the back of Lily Browning. Yellow flags is the first sector. That's the, I want to say the front. No, that's, what other teams use red cars? That's the Audi.
It's the Audi.
Yeah.
I think is that Regan that's gone off?
It is.
Yes. Oh, no front wing. Oh, that's horrendous. I'm gutted. I'm absolutely gutted. Regan was driving such a strong race as well. It will be a retreat to the pit lane. It is still a pre-season race, of course. Many learnings to be had. Regardless, impressive drive, but that is not the way they would want to end the one pre-season race before the competition truly heats up.
You're absolutely right. And, you know, they say confidence is one that builds and make their way through, but also you look at it on the flip side here, Carl, and you'd rather make the mistakes in this pre-season environment where the stakes are much lower. There is not necessarily those points on offer. Yes, it's going to take a little bit of a knock to the mental game, But actually, you then need to flip that on its head, go, right, I've made the mistake there in pre-season, it doesn't mean anything, and then hit the ground running with Season 2 proper.
Exactly. This is a safe space to be able to make those mistakes, like you say, without that competition compromise, which is great news. Charlotte Perkins is finally going to breach their target. No, they're not. Correction. Lily Browning said, not tonight, sunshine. Through goes the Ferrari, more battery. Charlotte Perkins having to save, retreat on the electrical energy side. And that's the problem we're seeing from both McLarens using the soft tyres. Seb was right, they are mad. But now saving the battery is the Ferrari. Sweeping through is the McLaren. But they can't build that gap and they can't make an impression. Those rear tyres are melting themselves to pieces. Pyroclastic flows for the Pirellis. And it's going to ultimately bite the bullet in terms of the race win. Another brief yellow flag towards the end of Sector 2. But all is well. 3 seconds to gap out in front.
Absolutely. I remembered what I was going to say when I lost my train of thought for a moment, and it still baffles me that we can't see the straight line mode opening. It looks so goofy on these cars where the wings are just staying permanent, because we see it in qualifying, and that's the really frustrating thing. And then for the race, apparently, straight line mode just does not exist. And we'll watch on board with Lily Browning here, and we'll watch from the rear view as they head through the final corner in a minute, where the straight line mode, you'll see it on the circuit, and I promise you, I've watched replays of other people or on boards with other people to prove that it does open. That rear wing is well and truly closed, Carl.
It is well and truly closed. They've made that. Listen, they're concealing their true pace. All the teams, I respect it in race trim. Therefore, more sponsorship for HP, of course, as Lily Browning printing out Ferrari's prime result at the Brazilian Grand Prix. As into the wall goes the Williams. Oh dear. It is a trip to barrier. Nice sponsorship on the walls. I like to see that. But gutting for the Williams. Down in P20. Again, though, a safe space to make those mistakes. And on they will carry. I was going to say the same thing as Seb in the chat. And that is, what are the lap times like compared to Lee and to Catherine? They seem stable at the moment. But the consistency very much favouring the Cadillac, I think. So
last lap times, Carl. And we will disclose this information on the premise that it stays in this chat and doesn't end up in anyone else's chat. It was a 1:12.2 for Theo King. It was a 1:12.3 for Woodward.
Ooh. It was going to be an early burner, the soft tyres. I think we saw that from a mile away regardless, as Jessica makes a mistake as well. Even the most experienced in the W1 scene being caught out by these cars, being caught out by the new regulations, down to the edges of the top 10, still, though, crucially in the top 10. For Jessica Ball, Carlotta Marchi up to P9. Quietly been going about their business. Good little race. But now it's the Regan Boylan Bonanza at Brazil. Round the outside, they look to Only Vic. But Only Vic holds firm. Car placed in all the right places to defend diligently. Will the switchback on the soft tyres present itself stupendously? Might be side by side through the left. No, save the battery. Play the smart game. Intelligence will incinerate the competition. And Regan Boylan, with also newer tyres, has more battery. About 20% more. It's going to be a battery blitz all the way down the start-finish straight. Very wide line taken towards said start-finish line to start what will be for them, I think, lap 33. Another yellow flag. That is it was one of the Red Bulls, I think, again, with a bit of a mistake. Ooh. Outside line and slight contact with the Alpine. Not sent scything into the wall, though. Only Vic carries on. Position gain for Regan Boylan.
Very, very close call there, and not necessarily the way they like to go. And both of the drivers trying to figure out how to turn, shut Mark up, I think is probably the better way to phrase that for a broadcast. And a couple of them were asking if they could completely mute him entirely. I suggested deleting the sound files. That probably wasn't the best of solutions. But yeah, have him on responses only is probably the best way to go about it. And Theo King now, I think, is in a position where this race is hers to be won. They've dominated right from the very start. And if this is how she means to go on for the season proper, Carl, I wonder if we're going to have a new champion by the end of Season 2.
It's entirely possible. We know the race pace of Theo King is absolutely lethal. Another yellow flag. It is the Red Bull, I believe. Is that Jessica Ball off again? I think it is. Jessica Ball at the final corner. More struggles for her, and she tries to blaze the battery, possibly left it in medium. The rear tyres are absolutely overcooked to oblivion. Back on track goes the Red Bull, down in P15. It has all unfolded in an instant. Like I say, even the most experienced being caught out in this pre-season race.
Yeah, tyres being ripped through as well. They are considerably overheated, 115 degrees in the rear tyres, and already. Add that to the wears. We're on lap 33 of 36 here, and it is a really steep learning curve. So you see Lainey Milligan get up past her teammate and now into 14th position. So in the lead, it is going to be close. I think Lee Woodward has not got the pace. It's now again a 13.3. I say that actually as Woodward was quicker last time around by about 0.7 of a second, but it's not going to be enough unless they find some true pace in the last few laps. I wonder if this is where the soft tyres, they're just giving them absolutely everything they have. Yellow flags again. Is that Alicia Hofflag that might have had a bit of a whoopsie through the first section? Yeah, it is, through the centre S's. Again, so easy just to drop the car down.
The Regan Boylan Bonanza continues. P12 looking for P11 on the Aston Martin driver. Are they going to be able to do it? Yes, they are. Undercut to the inside. Easy as you like. Left, right, good night. And that's P11. Almost the top 10 awaits. About 7 seconds to Sarah Hardy, who has got a penalty, though. So the top 10 could still beckon for the Audi driver, despite all of the conundrums they faced. 3.5 seconds is the gap out in front. Olivia Collins catching quite considerably, though, to Lee Woodward in second place. 10 laps now on those soft compound tyres, which really have fought the farm. It's a question to Catherine Thielking of whether she was at all concerned about the pace of Lee Woodward in the initial stages. I imagine the answer will probably be no, because the soft tyres will just not have that temperature management, as round the outside, in an audacious but astonishing little overtaking attempt, is Lainey Milligan trying to put on the swim turbocharge in towards Ferradura. Only Vic has it countered for the moment. Front wing damage for the Red Bull. Sees her sailing on wide, and there's the time penalty for good measure.
It's a tough one, this circuit, and I think the track limits have well and truly been harshened after everything that went down with Madrid and everything along those lines. But with 2 laps to go here, Catherine Thielking again into the 11s on race pace and looking incredible on the hard compound of tyres. So there's certainly a good opportunity to take the win here. Woodward did not have a response that time around. 1.5 seconds, give or take, in terms of last lap time difference. So Woodward, I think, has found the limit to the soft compounded tyres in terms of performance. Thielking, on the other hand, has taken these tyres 20 laps. 22 will be child's play for them, and they've just got to bring the car home in the moment.
Yeah, a dominant display from Thielking. I almost saw it. We should have seen it coming, really. I mean, it's your prediction coming to the forefront in dramatic fashion. Curious Fire's not done battling in the second Cadillac. One steaming on clear in front, the other one getting in amongst it. An Audi up ahead within a second. Overtake mode will be at their disposal, so more boost to be had. Vanessa Hostetler, though, with a massive turbocharge down the inside, goes the Haas driver. Through goes the Haas briefly, although I think Vanessa Hostetler might well be disconnected based on the body language of the car. Still, her AI is putting on a good show, so we take that. I mean, 5.5 seconds out in front. It's the sort of display we saw with the 2025 cars, playing the strategy game, weathering the storm if there was a contra strategy, and then just checking out with a couple of laps to go to really assert the dominance, to properly stamp their authority. And as they enter the last lap of this pre-season race, what a marker to lay down. The vice champion against the champion of season 1, and the vice champion with a cutthroat showing.
Absolutely stunning from Thielking from start to finish. It didn't look like anything was rocking them, even when Lee Woodward was going quicker, lap after lap after lap. And I must also praise Zara here, just quickly before we head on to the celebrations. The driver, I think Zara will admit in her own right, that hadn't discovered the straight line mode and or the boost mode until a couple of days ago, and her community informed her about it. So what a way to come back and almost, not far off the points paying positions in good battles, and lots of time still to head into before season 2 proper. But for Thielking here, it has been such a dominant drive, and will finish nearly 6 seconds clear of her closest compatriot of Lee Woodward, who will finish in second unless anything goes wrong. But for Catherine Thielking, what could have been nothing but the perfect start, the American dream almost certainly. Catherine Thielking will win it in Brazil for the pre-season race of season 2 of W1 Sim Series.
Freedom finalised. Result replication. A direct copy of the race winner from season 1 in Brazil to arrive in the 2026 cars. Catherine Thielking lays down the gauntlet. I believe Lee Woodward also finishing identical to their position from season 1 in second place, the result that brought them the championship. But what a titanic tussle those two are going to have. Olivia Collins has finished his third, and then we wait just a little bit longer for Esme Chambers in P4 and the rest of the grid to filter through. What a showing. What a race. We knew it would be chaos. We knew people would struggle to get to grips with the new regulations. But that did not disappoint one bit. W1 is back, and you better believe it's better than ever.
Certainly is, and unfortunately we would have liked to heard from the snail next door, but their prediction is still on its way. We're not expecting it until the start of Season 2, but it would have almost uncertainly been Theo King. We watched the battle further back as well, definitely not Jazz up towards the line with Von Haufler as well, the final closer across that checkered flag. But what a race we have just seen. I think there'll be a few moments for drivers just to review everything that has gone on and, you know, get themselves prepared. They've got 2 weeks from this point before the season starts properly. And of course, we head over to the Great British Isles in Silverstone. And I'm already seeing in the drivers' chat a lot of happy drivers. It is a lot of, you know, you quite often get a very toxic environment after races like this. But I must admit, the drivers always turn out and it is always a smile on the end of these races.
Exactly. No, for sure. Safe space. Oh my God, Charlotte Perkins has nearly cleaned out all the awards. Fair enough. 3 out of 5 belongs to one McLaren. The one cleanest driver belongs to Lee Woodward. The race winner, though, Catherine Thiel-King, the American sensation for the American team, wins the pre-season race ahead of champion of Season 1, Lee Woodward. Olivia Collins rounds out the podium with Esme Chambers in the Aston Martin P4. Angel Kirby, the V-Cob, Charlotte Perkins, the rest of your top 10 is there. Regan Boylan did recover into the top 10 places. Excellent recovery. Katie Grafton, Sarah Hardy, only Vic getting 13th place, what would be points in W1. Lainey Milligan, Jessica Ball, Vanessa Hostetler. No, yes, it is Vanessa Hostetler. Yeah. Zara Shahsavari, Def Not Jazz, it is. Ivan Haufler, LJ Ripley, Alicia Hofflack round out the finishing order. Vanessa, unfortunately, not finishing the race, and we do wish her a very speedy recovery.
We really do. It's always tough to see a driver go down to an injury or an illness or something along those lines, and, you know, speedy recovery to not only Vanessa, but yeah, hopefully, if it does still hurt, please go get that checked out. We have, very fortunately, got a physio within the drivers' community. One of our lovely staff, or one of our lovely moderators, Les, is a qualified or training qualified physical therapist. So they might be able to give some good input and some advice over the course of the evening. But as we prep ourselves now for Season 2 properly, obviously that 10-race calendar, we can have another quick look at it very quickly. This season, these tracks, there's a lot to look forward to, isn't there?
There really is. I mean, you can't go wrong with going to the birthplace of Formula 1 to bring about the start of Season 2. And this was the race which champion Lee Woodward said, better than the championship, I want to win the British Grand Prix. So you can bet that she's going to be practicing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to get first place in Great Britain. I mean, to round off the first half of the calendar, you've got Canada, track limits galore. Imola, love Imola, absolutely glorious track. I'm not biased. And then the Spanish double header, Barcelona, and of course, the Madrid. That will be a scintillating show.
It certainly will. I'm looking forward to the double header, as I'm calling it, and that was what I've had in my head since designing this entire calendar. Originally, it was going to go Spain, US, Spain. Then someone decided that it was probably safer to put them in that order, because then it's normal track, street circuit, normal track, street circuit. So at least we get some relief for most of those. And yeah, blame me for the calendar, blame me for the grid, for the majority of everything that has gone on so far. But Carl, we've got some lovely individuals to go and have a chat with over the course of this. Should we start from top to bottom? Let's start with Catherine Thiel-King, shall we?
Let's do it.
Well, Catherine Thiel-King, welcome in. First and foremost, the first race victor within Season 2 for W1 Sim Series. And how better to do it in the home hero car of the Cadillac?
It was a fun race. I enjoyed these new regulations quite a bit. I think increased amount of overtakes was a lot of fun, especially in that first stint, fighting with Lee. But yeah, that was a fun race.
It certainly looked it, and obviously right at the end there was the moment where Lee bolted on the softs, tried and catch up, and I think they just fell off maybe more than she was expecting. But was there ever a moment that you were, I don't say worried about that alternate strategy, but had it in the back of your mind that it was going to be something out of left field?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was definitely worried when Lee bolted on those softs, and I kind of knew the tire wear was a little less on this game, so I tried to push as much as I can without ruining my own tires, and I was glad I was able to hold on.
But I'll pass it over the gauntlet to yourself.
Thank you kindly. Catherine, congratulations. Immaculate race from yourself. I think also, as on a driver's perspective, you've talked about the new regulations in terms of the overtakes, but is there also a particular liking to maybe the challenge of managing the battery in order to not spend your tokens, or maybe just play it a little bit safe or be unorthodox? So just a view in terms of how you view the battery management for these regulations.
Oh yeah, that the new regulations kind of like changed my mindset coming into these new races, because now instead of like full pushing the whole time, and doing like a little bit of management, now it's kind of maybe more 50-50, or not exactly at that ratio, but like more management, less pushing, you know, kind of sparing your battery for, you know, moments later in the race when especially when I was on those hards, I was kind of trying to push as much as I can and build the gap.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like there was a lot of learnings in terms of maybe the tyres as well. The mediums seem like a bit of a handful, particularly at the rear. The hards seem to have that consistency. So it's a win. You've replicated the feat from Season 1, but it seems like there's still a lot of learning that you've taken on board from this as well.
There's still a lot of learning to do in terms of like the ERS system and the way the car drives. Even it's still pretty similar to last year, but it's still some quirks I'm trying to figure out. So
Quirks, and she's won by 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Be afraid.
I'm not even racing, and I'm terrified of Catherine's pace that she's about to show off here, because, yeah, a lot to look forward to. Catherine, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and we really look forward to seeing you back racing at the start of Season 2. Just very quickly as well, obviously, you're in the Cadillac alongside Zara. What's that like to be, first and foremost, in the American cars, but also alongside Zara for the season?
it's I feel very proud to represent the Cadillac team, at least in this series. Kind of representing the hard work and kind of dedication and all the people of my country we put in day out. Despite what's going on today, we still have that determination, that grit to keep pushing. So I'm glad I can represent that for I guess this team.
Amazing. Pleasure to speak to you, Catherine. I'm sure we'll speak to you again as Season 2 kicks off properly. Be a race winner again, everybody. Catherine Thielking for our pre-season race. Absolutely stunning. And to do it by such a degree and then kind of come in and go, I've probably got more pace in me. I think the drivers should be worried. Absolutely.
Yeah, she did this at Social Race 1 as well.
Yeah.
Interview after the Belgian Grand Prix, where she said, I haven't played the game in ages.
Yeah.
I was just finding my feet again and was only 2 seconds off winning. So be afraid. Be very afraid. Although, you cannot fault Lee Woodward for trying. Their strategy was bold. They gave it everything. Just wasn't to be today, but still a good result, ultimately.
Certainly so. And let's drag in Lee to have a little conversation with as well. Lee, it wasn't quite to be this afternoon. You said it was going to be the bold and brave strategy, to put it politely. Obviously, putting on softs right at the end and trying to run them for 13 laps. What inspired that strategy?
Well, originally I was going to start on mediums and do medium soft, because I thought, well, look, you're lifting and coasting, you're saving tyres, I'll give it a go. It's a social race, I might as well try something, because I don't think I've got the pace to keep up, so I thought I'll just try something different and hope it works. And I just ended up not doing it.
I respect the commitment to trying something different. I'm actually disappointed you didn't go for the medium softs, because that would have been really interesting to see how it would have fed. But, I mean, we saw the mediums right at the end where they were just, I don't want to put it bluntly, but they were dying off there, weren't they?
Yep. Yeah, they felt pretty bad after about 2 or 3 laps, and sort of as soon as I pulled out the pits, I went, yeah, I've ruined this centre.
And just talk to us very quickly before I hand you over to Carl and you can have his line of interrogation. We're looking ahead to the season proper, Silverstone being the first round of the calendar. You obviously wanted to win it last season and did so, and you said that meant more than the championship at the end of the day. Do you want to go 2 for 2 at home?
I'll try. I'll see what I can do. I'm not as confident with these as I was with the last cars, but I'll give it my best shot.
I respect it. Lee, congratulations on the P2. Firstly, still a great result, replicating the feat you got in Season 1 at the Brazilian Grand Prix. So it's all poetry in motion. But new cars, obviously new regulations, you've alluded to it a little bit. What's your experience been like with them? What learnings have you taken from your time with them so far?
It's pretty much been you can't put the car in non and just use overtake, which is what I did throughout the entirety of Season 1. But yeah, you can't do that with these. So I've kind of just left it in medium and just tap the overtake and then turn it off straight away and put it in none and hope it recharges battery, or the car just decides I'm going to burn the entire thing and let you lose 5 or 6 positions.
How interesting. We had this big debate in the commentary box briefly about battery modes, because it's going to be a big talking point. Some drivers don't use none at all, some do. Like me. Maybe I'm the dumb one, who knows? But no, fair enough. No, it's good to hear the perspective on it. It really is. In terms of course, we've got a stacked calendar. We've got Britain, which is what TK alluded to. You've got Imola, you've got both Spanish Grand Prix, etc. Has your preference of track with these cars, based on your time you've had, has it changed? Has like your overall liking to certain tracks become a bit different compared to the 2025 cars? Yeah,
quite a bit. I mean, Silverstone on the 25 cars was my favourite track, and I've driven it a couple of times, and I'm not as big of a fan as I was last season. But yeah, I think Jeddah's an interesting track to choose. I think that one's gonna. I honestly don't know how many people are gonna finish it, or some of us will just run out of battery first straight. But we'll see.
Nothing else from me. Impressive, honestly, impressive race, Lee. Like you say, let there be carnage. I'm ready for it. I know TK on my right is ready for it as well.
Absolutely. I've just got one more question before I let you go, and it's the same question that I posed to Catherine as well. Obviously, driving in the Papaya Army, driving part of the McLaren team, you're teamed up with Mayuki Panda for the 2nd season in a row. How does it feel to be back together?
It's really good. I mean, she's the best teammate in the world. She's always. I bring sort of the serious side of things, and then I'll be a bit of an idiot sometimes. But she brings the fun and the sort of laughing side of things, and is always sort of there to sort of calm me down after a bad result or a result where I'm not as happy. She's always like the supportive teammate that you want. But that is one question I had. Do I send you, TK, the therapy bill when I run out of battery on qualifying?
You can send that straight to Victoria. She'll file it away accordingly. That is more than okay. But everybody, for the first time in season 2, 2nd place goes to Lee Woodward. Congratulations. And finally, one more chat we're going to have with Olivia Collins, who hopefully I've also got a name tag for, which I'm now looking at my list and I'm slightly worried that I don't, because I might not have got that one sorted. So Olivia, you'll have to forgive me.
The audience can imagine.
I could have sworn I had it, but no, because they joined mid-season. It shows how much I haven't done to this package for a while. But there is some big change coming for season 2, which hopefully will come our way. But let's welcome in Olivia first and foremost. Olivia, not only was it 3rd place on the grid today, so a podium for yourself, you finished as the highest place reserve today, and that must mean something.
Yeah, it's just, I think it does mean a little bit. But to me, I had a lot of bit of some incidents during the whole race, which I fully take blame for. Because I just couldn't predict the speed difference. Because someone was going in Niles and medium, and I think I like knocked out Esme and Nessa, which I completely blame myself for.
Yeah, we saw
2 moments.
We saw some good battles that was going on through the race, and were there moments? Obviously, you started mediums, went hard, so you followed the status quo along with yourself and Esme. Was there a moment that you two thought there was going to be more of a battle? Because I think in the end, you guys were separated by a considerable margin.
I think there would have been if I didn't put her in the wall and gave a bit of wing damage. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, I remember that was where she managed to get all 4 tyres off the ground, which was impressive.
Yeah, I take full blame. But yeah, I think there would have been a lot more of a bigger battle for maybe a podium with Esme, but it's unfortunate. Sometimes it's just what happens.
Carl, I'll let you jump in here.
Sure thing. Olivia, firstly, congratulations. Welcome to the podium. Good to have you here. And don't worry, as Twitch chat says, blame TK. Now, in terms of the 2026 cars, I've asked Lee about this in terms of what they've learned, how much of a liking they've taken to them, their experience with them so far. So I'll ask the same thing to you. What have your experiences been like with these so far?
I don't mind them. I think they're a lot more funner than being stuck to the ground 24/7. I like how they move about a lot more. The battery is frustrating but it's not like as frustrating as I thought it would be. Like, I mean, at Brazil, it was fine. I thought it would be a little bit worse because the straights are long, got long corners. But it was okay around here, but I don't mind the 2026 cars in the game.
No, it seems like you've got a good hang of them already. In terms of obviously you're a reserve for W1 this season, but there are a plentiful roster of tracks for you to hone your craft in, to put your name down for. So looking at the calendar, what kind of tracks are you eagerly anticipating getting ready for, and what other tracks are you thinking, maybe not that one?
I love Imola, and my favourite circuit since I've gotten into more racing.
Good track.
Yeah.
Madrid, I'm scared for.
Yes.
Saudi will be interesting because of it's just straights at the entire time. Barcelona will be very even, and I think I'll pick one more. Pick the home race. I think that one will also be pretty decent because battery is going to be very dependent because the straights are massive, especially Hanger. And especially Maggots and Beckett's, you have to go so slow just to get it for the straight. But I think it'll be a decent season if I can try and get hangs with it.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah.
A podium already to add to the collection. I think the final brief question from me is, you've talked about I've completely lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. You've talked about it'll come back. Let me cook. You've talked about the experiences with the cars today. You've talked about learnings going forwards. If you could take one piece of learning from today, it's the biggest thing which you can bring forward with you, what would you say that is today?
I want to say be more patient, but I think for me is try and be more wary about where everyone else would be with their battery, because obviously I said I kind of got caught out by the speed difference, Ollie Behrman with Colapinto at Japan. It was huge. But especially when I was so close to cars, it's to me, I'm a bit of a numpty with it. So yeah, I think my main thing is to be a bit more patient behind drivers if I'm really, really close.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, Olivia, and we look forward to hopefully welcoming you back more onto the grid as we head into Season 2 proper. Again, congratulations, 3rd place here today at Brazil. So good to speak to all of our podium sitters, and it's so nice to be able to chat to them all because so many of them are wanting to get involved with these. Because I remember back to the start of Season 1 where we had barely anyone come and chat to us. We were the scary people in the commentary box that no one wanted to come chat to. But now they're there before we even have to ask them to be waiting, and they want to chat, and they love getting involved. And I think it really does show to the community that W1 has started to build and develop, and it's becoming that all-encompassing league safe space, but also a community that, some of our drivers are taking part together in LMU races, for example, as the W1 team. So it's fantastic to see.
Exactly. I mean, you can tell they live and breathe for the racing as well. They live and breathe for the series. You can hear it in how passionate they are about talking about the cars in terms of the battery management, the battles, how much fun they've had with it. It's just wonderful to see. It's radiating positivity all the way through. We pick up where we left off in Season 1, and that's just wonderful to see. Long may it continue, because British Grand Prix is coming up. Happy homecoming for many, or at least they hope so. We're ready. We hope you're ready as well.
Absolutely are. You know where you need to be in just 2 weeks' time when our drivers get ready for Season 2 proper. Silverstone awaits for all of our drivers. But until then, from all of us here, it is good night.